We're going to have a look at those Newmarket numbers today, and there's some interesting stuff going on here. So, like my other videos, what we're going to do is we're going to cover the most current month we have in the Toronto Real Estate Board stats, which is November 2021. We'll compare that with what happened a year ago in November 2020, and then we'll have a look at October 21 as well. So starting first with the numbers. So the N stands for new listings that came to market. So there was 156 back in November 2020. Sales through the month were 155. Active listings were 118. So active listings essentially are what carry over into the next month. If we're looking at October 2021, we had 164 new listings come out, 158 sales, 71 active listings. And into November, we had 121 new listings come on the market, 143 sales, and 34 active listings that carried over into December 2021. So you're probably scratching your head going, where do we get 128 listings come out? How do we get 143 sales? And so what happens is in every market, there's always going to be carryover listings, listings that don't sell, or cancellations and relists, or that aren't listed, right at the beginning of the month, so they happen to fall into the next month. Or in a case like this market, there's offer presentation dates. So let's say you have a property that comes out, on the 25th of November. Maybe the offer presentation date isn't until December 4th or 5th, something like that. So that's where you're always going to get that active inventory that goes into the next month. So basically what's happening here is the sales are very directly showing that the sales are being pulled out of this active listing inventory, the inventory that goes month to month to month. If we're talking about the money, $963,000 was the average sale price across all home types in November 2020. That rose to $1,194,000 in October 21, currently trending at $1,214,000. Now, the sales to new listings ratio, or the SNLR, also known as the absorption rate, it tells us out of the homes coming on the market each month, what is the percentage of them that are actually selling. And it is calculated by taking the sales and dividing it by the new listings. So it is that stat is directly pointed at this new listing and sales numbers. So in November 2020, we had 99.4% of the homes that came on the market sold. 96.3% of the properties that came on the market in October 2021 sold. In November, 111.7% of the homes that came on the market sold. And again, I said there were some interesting things here. So again, you're seeing it in the numbers here, right? So you're seeing 128 new listings, 143 sales, so we're selling over what came on the market. So if you want to talk about what is a buyer's market, what is a seller's market, so when you're looking at the absorption rate of 0 to 50%, that's going to be indicative of what we would consider a buyer's market. So there is more supply than there is demand. When you're between 50% and 60%, it's what we call a balanced market, so there's enough supply to meet the demand. And when you get over 60% to 100, absolutely indicative of a seller's market, so not enough supply to meet the demand. And when you get over 100%, that is even more pronounced. So the MOI, or months of inventory remaining, as it's known, tells us that if no other homes came on the market after today at the current rate of consumption or the current rate of buying, how long would it take to completely deplete the inventory? A year ago, 0.8. Dropped in half in October to 0.4, dropped in half again in November to 0.2. And again, we're seeing so the months of inventory is calculated by its active listings divided by sales. So again, we're seeing a massive reduction in the amount of active listings that carried over. So that could be some of those sold. I mean, there was less listings that came to market by a good chunk. Sales were, reasonably close, right? 13 units off, or 15 units off. So and then, you're about in half of the active listings. So some of those could have been people taking their homes off the market for Christmas time. Maybe they don't want to show their home. Again, I would suggest that probably a few of those at least were pulled into this monthly sales number here. So sale price to list price ratio, 100.6% of ask homes were selling for a year ago. 111.1 in October, currently trending at 111.4% of asking. Days on market to get a home sold, 17 in November 2020, 8 in October, and 9 in November 2021. So I want to offer you this. When I start seeing the days on the market counter go up, what I would offer you is that buyers are circling back because this month there was less listings that came on the market, so not as much to look at. We can see by this number that the competition in as far as the sale price to list price ratio, competition has been strong. People are working hard, competing hard to get those properties. So what I would suggest is, because we're seeing this number climb up, the buyers that are not successful in getting one of those new 128 listings that came out, they're circling back and looking at this active inventory. And so again, a home we know statistically will get its most amount of activity in the first 2 weeks on the market. So when that 2 week period runs out, or whatever that happens to be for that individual buyer, they're probably going to see homes multiple times a week. But when they start going back and looking at the older listings, it just takes them longer to get through the listings. And of course, the days on the market counter has been counting the whole time. So that's what I would offer you there when you have a market that's as heated and hot as this, and you see the days on market counter going up. So I hope you found this information helpful. Any questions at all, please do not hesitate to reach out to me if you have any questions on how these numbers or this market update may pertain to your specific home type. Happy holidays, and I look forward to connecting with you in the future.